Hello, very good morning, students. Hope you all are fine. Myself, Dr. Rachita Bhaikar, and I will be teaching you scrotum and testes. Firstly, moving towards the learning objectives of this. At the end of the lecture, every student should be able to tell the layers of the scrotum, the blood supply, nerve supply, and its applied aspect. Scrotum is an integumentary pouch which is present in the lower part of anterior abdominal wall and contains the testes, the epidermis, and the spermatic cords. And the function of it is to protect the testes from the external violence and maintains the temperature which is lower than that of the abdomen. That's why this pouch is needed. The scrotum itself means a pouch or a bag in Latin. If we see externally, this scrotum is divided into right and left half by means of a median raphe or ridge. Of these two sides, the left side scrotum is slightly lower as compared to the right side because it has to accommodate the enlarged left spermatic cord. There are various corrugations which are seen over the external surface of the scrotum, but internally, if you see, there are the two different compartments, the right and left compartment, which are divided by means of one septum, which is called as the scrotal septum. And if we further dissect it, we can see here the testicles as well. Testicles, the epidermis, and the spermatic cord. This scrotum is homologous with that of labia majora in case of females, which are developed from the genital swelling. You can see here the skin of the scrotum, which is corrugated because the skin is attached to the underlying dartus muscle. That's why the corrugations are seen over the scrotum. Now let's move to the next heading, that is the layers of the scrotum. If we go from outside to inside, the various layers are the skin, the dartus muscle, external spermatic fascia, cremasteric muscle and fascia, and the internal spermatic fascia. This is a longitudinal section which is showing all these layers and very easy diagram to be drawn in the exam. So this is the figure to show you that how the anterior abdominal wall layers is helping us to form this pouch or bag which will contain the testes. Okay, so here you can see almost all the layers of the anterior abdominal wall is going to form the scrotum. In the next slide, we are going to see the specialities of each and every layer. Firstly, the skin. The skin, it is thin, elastic, pigmented, and I said to you, it is corrugated because of the adhesion with the underlying dartus muscle. Corrugation is more pronounced in case of cold temperature and in young adults. And skin is provided with numerous sebaceous and sweat glands. The sebaceous secretion emits a peculiar odor. Evaporation by sweating lowers the scrotal temperature. After puberty, the skin presents scattered, coarse hairs. Coming to the next layer, that is the dartus muscle, which is shown here, this one. The second layer, that is the dartus muscle. How it is going to develop? This dartus muscle is going to develop from the superficial fascia. It is a subcutaneous involuntary muscle and at the median raphe projects into the interior as the scrotal septum. In the previous slide we have already seen it, which is attached above to the facial sheath at the root of the penis. All the layers of the scrotum except the skin lines each compartment separately. The dartus muscle is continuous in front with the fascia of Camper and fascia of Scarpa of anterior abdominal wall. Behind it is continuous with the fascia of Colles of perineum. And here you can see it is continuous with the Scarpa's fascia. And the most important thing about this layer is that it is devoid of fat. That's why it helps in lowering the scrotal temperature. Coming to the third layer, that is the external spermatic fascia. It is derived from the aponeurosis of external oblique at the margin of superior inguinal ring, which is shown in pink color. The fourth layer, which is shown in the purple color, that is the cremasteric fascia layer and cremasteric muscle layer. The cremasteric muscle is detached part of internal oblique muscle arising from the upper surface of middle third of inguinal ligament and passes as muscle fascicula along the spermatic cord. It spreads in the scrotum as a series of irregular U-shaped loops which are held together by an areolar fascia. So these are the two muscles, that is the dartus muscle and the cremasteric muscle, which are present in the scrotum. As I said to you, the dartus muscle is an involuntary muscle. That's why it is supplied by the sympathetic nerve from the superior hypogastric plexus, whereas the cremasteric muscle is supplied by the genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. The next layer, that is the internal spermatic fascia, which is shown here in the orange color. Here you can see it is going to derive from the fascia transversalis. So only the muscle which is forming the anterior abdominal wall but not extending into the scrotum is the transversus abdominis. And these are all the MCQs which have been asked various times in your exams. External spermatic fascia we have seen, it is formed at the superficial inguinal ring. And internal spermatic fascia, we have to remember that this is going to form at the deep inguinal ring. And in some books there is one more layer which is given, that is the parietal layer of the tunica vaginalis, which will be one of the covering of the scrotum. This is also one of the interesting diagram which I got from internet. This is the showing skin and the subcutaneous tissue which is continuous with that of the skin of the scrotum. Then the external oblique, how it is going to form the external spermatic fascia, the internal oblique which is going to form the cremasteric layer, and here you can see the fascia transversalis which is going to form the internal spermatic fascia. This is at the level of the superficial inguinal ring and this is the superficial deep inguinal ring. And this will also help us to tell the various layers which are present in the spermatic cord. Again, here this is the external spermatic fascia, the cremasteric muscle and its fascia, and lastly the internal spermatic fascia, and this is the spermatic cord which is lying inside this. Next, now you should know about the blood supply and the nerve supply of the scrotum. The blood supply is mainly by means of the pudendal vessels, as pudendal, the meaning of the pudendal is to be ashamed of. So that's why the superficial external pudendal, the deep external pudendal, and the branches of internal pudendal, and as well as the cremasteric branch of the inferior epigastric artery is also going to supply the scrotum area. So you can in short remember the pudendum means to be ashamed of. That's why it is going to supply to the area which should be ashamed of, that is the scrotum area. I feel that the nerve supply of scrotum is very important, because if you see, if you divide firstly the scrotum into two parts, that is the anterior 1/3 and the posterior 2/3 part. The anterior to 1/3 part, it is having the dermatome as L1, and posterior 2/3 part, it is having the dermatome as S3 and S4. The anterior 1/3 of the scrotum is supplied by means of two nerves, that is ilioinguinal nerve and genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. Whereas the posterior 2/3 part, it is supplied by means of posterior scrotal nerves, perineal branch of posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh. And between these two nerves, the blue line which I have drawn is nothing but the ventral axial line of lower limb. What does it mean? When the genital swellings were there, which were going to form the scrotum, at that time there were the lower limb buds which were developing, and this lower limb buds were developing from this ventral axial line. That is the importance of this, embryological importance of this nerve supply. As well as there is one more importance of this nerve supply, I feel, that is anesthetists should always remember that for doing any surgery over the scrotum, they have to give the anesthesia from L1 level till the S4 level. So this is the point one should always remember. Let's move on to the applied aspect of this scrotum. This is the image which is showing the sebaceous cyst of the scrotal region. And as I said to you, the skin layer is having numerous sebaceous glands. That's why there are the chances to develop the sebaceous cyst, which are very common in this region. If the scrotum is bifid in case of male, that condition is called as pseudohermaphroditism, which is seen in this image, in which the septum is there here, and that's why the external genitalia looks like a female. That's why the word pseudo is used. These are going to develop from the genital swellings, and this part is going to develop from the genital tubercle. One should always remember this. Now moving to the most important topic, that is the hydrocele. Hydrocele is a condition in which the fluid is accumulated in the processus vaginalis of the peritoneum. Here you can see this is the fluid filled hydrocele, which is not communicating with that of the peritoneum, whereas this is communicating with that of the peritoneum. That's why it is called as communicating type of hydrocele. And here is the spermatic cord. If the fluid is present inside this is called as an encysted type of hydrocele, or hydrocele of the cord also we can say. So here in this diagrams you can see between the parietal layer and the visceral layer of the tunica vaginalis,